Thank you for accessing this video. This video explains Chapter 8 of Pipeline from the Manual for DPHE to support POSHWA on O&M of Piped Water Supply System. This video was created based on the training material used in the training of trainers for the PICMAC DPHE Phase 2 project supported by JICA. This module covers page number is from P8-1 to P8-28. Today we will learn about points on the operation and maintenance for pipeline facilities in POSHWA piped water supply schemes. By the end of this module, you should feel confident giving technical supports to POSHWA engineers to diagnose pipeline performance, understand failures, and guide proper operation and maintenance. So let us begin by understanding what pipeline is, how it works, and why it is essential for safe drinking water supply. Through this session, you will be able to understand the basic knowledge of pipelines in piped water supply systems. Recognize the risks involved in pipeline O&M activities. Diagnose pipeline conditions using key parameters. Identify necessary actions and practical countermeasures for supporting POSHWAs. The session will proceed in 3 parts. Starting from providing knowledge of the basic theory, this is important because a solid understanding of the principles allows you to solve problems more easily. Then we will see what points should be confirmed for the water facility diagnosis and necessary action and countermeasures. These are the items you must check for evaluating pipeline facility. After that, we will also look at troubleshooting and inspection, where you can utilize it as a summary of the technical points. Let's begin the basic theory. Water supply pipelines downstream of the water treatment plant are broadly classified into 3 types: transmission lines, distribution lines, and service lines. Pipelines running from the water treatment plant to service reservoirs are called transmission lines. Those from the service reservoirs to the distribution network are called distribution lines, and pipelines that connect the distribution network to individual consumers' taps are called service lines. If these pipelines are not properly managed, stable water pressure and water quality cannot be maintained, and leaks may occur. Proper operation and maintenance of water pipelines form the foundation of safe, reliable, and sustainable water supply services, and therefore must be carried out continuously and in a planned manner. Here are the impacts of pipeline O&M. Proper O&M helps prevent service interruptions and pressure drops, ensuring a stable water supply. Pipe corrosion, internal deposits, and contamination through leaks can deteriorate water quality. Therefore, O&M directly affects water quality. Leaks and poor management increase non-revenue water, resulting in losses of both water resources and revenue. Inadequate preventive maintenance leads to emergency repairs and large-scale rehabilitation, increasing overall costs. Regular inspection and timely repair can extend the lifespan of water pipes. Frequent failures and leaks reduce public confidence in the water supply service. Pipe failures can cause road collapse or damage to surrounding infrastructure, affecting public safety. A pipeline system consists of various components. In addition to pipes, fittings, control valves, and maintenance instruments are also used. In this session, we will learn the characteristics of these components. PVC is the most used pipe material in Bangladesh. It is lightweight, easy to install, and resistant to corrosion. However, it is vulnerable to heat, ultraviolet exposure, and impact. Two major joint types are used. ATS joint, or tapered socket joint, uses adhesive applied to the inner and outer surfaces of the pipe and fitting, which are then inserted and bonded together. An RR joint, or rubbering joint, is a flexible joint widely used for PVC pipes. A rubber ring inserted at the pipe end ensures watertightness when the pipes are joined. HDPE pipes are lightweight, flexible, and highly resistant to corrosion. The main jointing methods are electrofusion and butt fusion. Electrofusion uses electric current to heat metal coils embedded in the fitting, melting the pipe and fitting surfaces and fusing them together. It is simple and reliable, but relatively expensive. Butt fusion melts the pipe ends using a heating plate, then presses them together to form a strong joint. The joint strength is nearly equivalent to the pipe itself and provides excellent resistance to tension, bending, and seismic forces. It is less expensive than electrofusion but requires skilled operators and proper equipment. When installed correctly, both methods produce strong, leak-resistant joints. Ductile iron pipes are very strong and durable, with excellent resistance to impact. However, they are heavy and more expensive than PVC and HDPE. They are not commonly used in Poshwa water supply systems but are widely used in Vasa systems. Common joint types include push-on, mechanical, flange, and shoulder joints. Ductile iron pipes are typically used for transmission mains or high-pressure areas. Galvanized iron pipes are resistant to heat and impact but are highly susceptible to corrosion, especially when buried underground. For this reason, galvanized iron is mostly used for exposed sections, water pipe bridges, or small indoor installations. Screw connections are the most common joining method. A branch connection can be made without stopping water supply by installing a saddle and drilling machine onto the existing pressurized pipe. It is intended to minimize the impact on residents' daily lives and business activities. This method is useful in urban areas where shutdowns are difficult. However, proper sealing materials must be used to prevent leakage after branching. Valves are essential for controlling water flow, isolating pipeline sections, and flushing pipelines. Sluice valves, butterfly valves, ball valves, and globe valves have different functions. Ball valves and sluice valves are not suitable for flow regulation because partial opening causes seal deterioration. Globe valves can regulate flow but result in higher head loss. Each valve type has different space, temperature, and pressure requirements, so valves must be selected according to their intended purpose. Malfunctioning valves can hinder repair work or cause service interruptions, therefore, regular inspection and functional checks are essential. Non-return valves prevent backflow and protect pumps and reservoirs. They are installed at wells, pump suction lines, and other critical locations. Because backflow can cause contamination or pump damage, non-return valves serve as essential safety devices. This slide shows three main types of non-return valves. The swing type is simple and has low head loss but is heavy and limited in installation orientation. The spring type works in both horizontal and vertical positions and effectively prevents water hammer, but it has higher head loss and cost. The wafer type is compact and suitable for tight spaces, but it is less durable and not suitable for unstable flow conditions. Understanding these characteristics helps select the appropriate valve for each application. During water conveyance, air can accumulate inside pipelines, creating air locks that reduce flow and pressure. Air vent valves automatically release trapped air and admit air under negative pressure to prevent pipe collapse. Because air accumulates at high points, air vent valves must be installed at the highest points of the pipeline. Washout valves remove sediment and sludge from low points in pipelines. Regular flushing improves water quality and restores flow capacity. Discharge points must be safe, such as drains or small rivers. Flow meters are essential for effective water utility management. They enable supply monitoring, leak detection, efficient operation, and the provision of sustainable water services. Water meters measure flow at key locations such as intakes, treatment plants, reservoirs, and distribution zones. They are vital for leak detection, non-revenue water management, and accurate billing. Proper maintenance and regular calibration are essential for reliable data. Pressure gauges monitor pump performance and system pressure. Abnormal readings may indicate leaks, blockages, or pump malfunctions. They should be installed at pump stations, overhead tanks, and key pipeline locations. Proper trenching, sand bedding, and backfilling are required to protect buried pipelines. According to DPHE's practical standards, a minimum cover of at least 1000 mm is recommended. Improper backfilling can lead to ground settlement, pipe deformation, or premature leakage. Underground valves must be installed within valve chambers to protect them from corrosion, soil intrusion, and external impact. The chambers should be equipped with durable covers and provide sufficient space for inspection and maintenance. The photograph in the lower right shows an example of a valve that has been directly buried. In this condition, excavation is required for maintenance, and continuous contact with soil can lead to corrosion and long-term deterioration of the valve. Trenchless construction methods, such as pipe jacking, minimize surface excavation and are suitable for crossings under roads, rivers, or dense urban areas. However, in Bangladesh, underground utility records are often incomplete. Therefore, experienced and skilled contractors are essential to ensure safe execution and avoid damage to existing utilities. Exposed pipelines are typically used for river crossings or bridge installations. They require secure structural supports, anti-corrosion coatings, and expansion joints to accommodate thermal movement. Proper installation is essential to prevent sagging, joint failure, and long-term structural damage. A service pipe with a diameter of 15 to 25 mm is installed at the house boundary, and a water meter is provided to accurately measure household water consumption. After the water supply system is officially handed over from DPHE, the Poshwa becomes responsible for connecting the service line to the household. This explains the proper method for connecting a service line to the distribution pipe. A small diameter pipe, typically 15 to 25 mm, is installed at the property boundary, and a water meter is installed to measure household water consumption. Improper practices, such as heating the main pipe to create an opening or using sponge materials with the saddle, should be avoided as they can cause leakage and contamination. Only appropriate PVC clamps with rubber gaskets should be used. Mild steel clamps must be avoided because they can deform under pressure and lead to frequent leakage. Proper installation of service lines is essential to ensure a safe and reliable household water supply. From now, we will move to the confirmation points and control measure part. This section explains how to diagnose whether pipeline is being performed correctly in daily operation and the necessary action to be taken in case it is not performed in an appropriate manner. This highlights the key confirmation points for improving water supply operations. A 24/7 water supply is essential for public health, hygiene, and reliable service delivery. It reduces the need for household storage, lowers the risk of contamination, and helps build trust with consumers. However, due to limited system capacity, many Poshwas still rely on intermittent supply. To address this challenge, 3 operational points are particularly important. First is leakage control. Most leaks occur in service lines. While surface leaks are visible, underground leaks require pressure checks. Community reporting combined with regular monitoring is critical. Second is pressure management. A minimum pressure head of 10 meters should be maintained at the farthest service points. Regular pressure monitoring helps ensure system performance and supports early leak detection. Third is the use of district metered areas. Dividing the network into DMAs allows targeted leak detection, and bulk and zonal meters help identify non-revenue water. These measures are essential for achieving a stable and sustainable 24-hour water supply. The first confirmation point is deterioration and lifespan. As pipelines age, the risk of deterioration increases, and older pipes have a higher probability of leakage. Pipelines older than 40 years with multiple leakage points should be considered for replacement. Pipe lifespan also depends on installation conditions, operating environment, and material quality. To assess the degree of pipeline deterioration, information such as pipeline maps, construction year, pipe material, and leakage records is essential. Where drawings do not exist, they should be developed through field surveys or using GIS. Flow and pressure monitoring also support accurate diagnosis. This explains the key points we check when assessing pipeline deterioration. First, pipeline maps are reviewed to confirm pipe material, construction year, and past leakage locations. If a pipeline is more than 40 years old and has experienced multiple leaks, it is likely deteriorating and may pose a risk of further leakage or contamination. Pressure and flow rates are also monitored. Significant changes under normal operating conditions may indicate leakage or internal blockages. These confirmation points help identify early warning signs and prioritize maintenance activities. When leakage occurs, one common repair method is to install a clamp on the damaged section. Clamp repair is widely used in Bangladesh and is effective for small to medium leaks. However, suitable clamp sizes may not always be available, so inventory should be checked in advance. While clamp repair is a quick and low-cost solution, repeated leakage indicates that pipe replacement may be necessary. When leakage is severe or pipe condition is poor, cutting and replacing the damaged section is required. This process involves removing the damaged pipe, inserting a new section, and connecting it with couplings. Compared to clamp-only repairs, this method provides a more reliable and long-term solution. After replacement, a pressure test must be conducted to confirm that no leakage remains. For very small leaks, temporary measures such as leakage prevention tape or bonding agents may be used. These methods are suitable only as short-term solutions for minor damage. Because these materials are not commonly used in Bangladesh, availability may be limited. If leakage continues after temporary treatment, permanent repair or replacement is required. Blockages inside pipelines reduce flow capacity and can cause pressure drops. One method to remove internal scale is high-pressure water jetting using cleaning nozzles. This technique effectively removes rust, debris, and scale. Although not widely used in Bangladesh due to equipment limitations, it is effective for older GI or ductile iron pipes. Another method is pigging, which uses a scraper or brush inserted into the pipeline. As the pig travels through the pipe, it removes accumulated scale and sediment. Pigging is effective even in long pipelines or those with bends and is recommended for heavily scaled pipelines. Chemical descaling is effective for removing mineral-based deposits such as calcium and magnesium. A circulation system using chemicals, commonly citric acid, dissolves the scale. After cleaning, both the chemicals and loosened deposits must be thoroughly flushed out. Because chemicals can be hazardous, this method should only be carried out by trained professionals. SIP is a trenchless rehabilitation technology that repairs pipelines without excavation. A resin-impregnated liner is inserted into the existing pipe and cured to form a new, seamless pipe inside. This method minimizes road disruption, noise, and construction time. Although not yet widely applied in Bangladesh for O&M, it is expected to become increasingly important in urban areas. The next confirmation points is valve functionality. Sluice valves and washout valves are critical for isolating pipelines and performing cleaning operations. If these valves fail, safe repair work cannot be carried out and service reliability is compromised. Regular operational checks are essential. Ensuring proper valve function is a key component of reliable water supply management. To assess valve performance, two key indicators are examined. First is visual condition. Rust, corrosion, or discoloration can impair valve operation and may lead to failure. If such things are observed, the valve should be inspected and, if necessary, replaced. Second is abnormal noise. Unusual sounds may indicate internal damage, debris accumulation, or mechanical deterioration. These symptoms suggest that the valve is not operating properly and requires attention. is water leakage. Leakage may result from wear, corrosion, debris, or loose fittings and contributes to increased non-revenue water. Visible leakage should be addressed promptly. Fourth is the tightness of bolts and nuts. These may loosen due to vibration, impact, or gasket deterioration. Corrosion may also reduce thread engagement, making proper tightening essential. Fifth, the valve's opening and closing operation must be checked. Each valve should operate smoothly and be able to open and close fully and accurately. Finally, the condition of the valve chamber must be confirmed. Rainwater, soil, debris, or vegetation inside the chamber can accelerate corrosion, hinder valve operation, and delay leak detection. Valve chambers should therefore be kept sealed and clean. If deterioration, damage, or missing components are observed, the condition of both the valve and the valve chamber must be checked. For valves, if rust, corrosion, or surface discoloration is found, the surface should be cleaned and an anti-corrosion coating applied. If severe external damage is observed, the valve should be replaced. For valve chambers, any soil, rainwater, or debris inside must be completely removed. In addition, if the chamber cover is damaged or missing, it should be repaired or replaced. These actions are essential to maintain proper valve operation and system reliability. If abnormal noise is observed or the valve does not operate smoothly due to sediment accumulation, flushing is required to remove sediment and other foreign matter. Regardless of whether problems occur, washout is recommended at least once every 6 months. If bolts or nuts are loose, they should be retightened using a torque wrench in accordance with the specified torque. If bolts or nuts are corroded or threads are worn, they should be replaced. If packing or gaskets have deteriorated, the sealing materials must be replaced to ensure proper sealing. If leakage is caused by worn or damaged components such as packing, seals, or valve discs, these parts should be replaced. If leakage persists after maintenance, valve replacement should be considered to ensure proper functionality. Now, we go on the troubleshooting and inspection. Even with proper understanding of each treatment unit, problems will occur in daily operation. This table shows how to use all the knowledge explained earlier when an actual problem appears in pipeline. Up to this point, important points of pipeline was explained separately, together with basic theory and confirmation points and control measures. And these points are converted in one table of troubleshooting, so that you can identify what caused the problem and the necessary actions to taken from the phenomenon you observed in pipeline. How to read the table? This table is utilized when you see some specific phenomenon, so, first, check the phenomenon column to see what phenomenon is identified as a problem. Then consider the possible causes. Understand the risk if the problem continues. Finally, select the correct countermeasure. For example, if you observe the occurrence of water discoloration, it could be caused by rusted pipe or auxiliaries. And the troubleshooting table guides you for the necessary action to take. In this case, you have to replace the pipe or take pipe cleaning to remove rust. This is how what we learned in the confirmation points and necessary actions can be quickly applied by referring to troubleshooting table. This is an inspection sheet introduced in the manual. An inspection sheet shows what data should be recorded routinely for the purpose of appropriate operation and maintenance. Each item listed here corresponds directly to the confirmation points explained earlier. By checking these regularly, you can detect abnormalities before they become serious enough, or identify the problem caused and will contribute to take quick actions for countermeasures. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching and I hope this video will help you understand the manual better.